the reason you don't have leaders in your team. The reason you don't have leaders in your team is it's various. I mean, there is several things that happened, and I'm gonna just take you back to Masa's and my journey, so you probably understand the whole process. It's perfectly normal. Let me start with that, and it's a normal feeling to have, and it's a process. And what I mean by that is, when we first started in our business, Masa and I, were we always are, right? You're very determined. You really want to get out of the situation that you have, and you're willing to take as much action as necessary, and just to make it happen, right? So, but what happens most of the time is like you're focusing most of the time on you, on yourself, on how you can get out of that comfort zone that you have, so you can become better and you can actually have more results. At the same time, because of the nature of this business, you need to help other people to have results. But what happens most of the time is like we lose a little bit of, we don't have the understanding that while we're doing that, people are going to model what we do and how we do it. And what happened to us is after a while, after having a team of people, what happened was we felt like we didn't have any leadership. And the reason for that is because everybody depending on us. We were very hardworking, very determined. We would try to help every single person in the team. But at the end of the day, what we were doing is we were making every single person in our team dependent on us, right? And that is one of the reasons we didn't have leadership in our team, because everybody was relying on us on doing the trainings, the recruiting, opportunities, everything, right? So that was the number one thing. So maybe one of the reasons you don't have leadership in your team is because you are making people depending too much on you, and it's like a one-man band, sort of say. So that's one thing. The second thing that we discovered was that as we were trying to help other people to step up, to have some leadership skills, right? What we found is that they had been looking up to us, but in a way, they didn't see themselves doing what we were doing because we were making it look too hard or too difficult, right? And when we were looking to do what we were doing, they were thinking, well, that's okay for Masa and Miguel. They are these people, they are very determined. I'm not as determined as they are. I am not as hardworking as they are. And everybody is, by the way. We are all, when we have the right motivation, we all are. But at the same time, as a leader, it's your responsibility to give them the clarity, to give them a clear process so they believe every single step of the way that they are able to replace you, and that's what you want your leadership to think, that at any time, any given time, they can take over the business and run with it. And the other reason you may not have leadership in your team is because you may not have a clear process of what that leadership looks like. For example, when is the right time for somebody to step up and run a presentation, for example? Or when is the right time for someone to do a three-way call with one of the downlines? Or, there is a few processes that need to be in place. So people say, well, that's okay for Masa and Miguel, but I think I'm ready to do what they do, right? And that comes down to, if you make it look easy and clear for this new team leader, the easier and the faster they will replace you. And that's the bottom line. What you want in your team is people to replace you. So you go from, the back of the room, as we always say, you step up into your leadership role. And as you get there in front of the room, you are able to teach others to replace you. So you go back to the back of the room, if that makes any sense. So the reason you're not having any leadership, there is various reasons. First of all, you may be making it look too hard. And the other reason is you may not have a clear process of what that leadership looks like and how people can step up, in very small increments, step up into that leadership, and they don't see themselves being a leader.